Hey guys, it's Scott here from Horse Racing Daily, and tonight we're going to talk about how the Preakness winners or Preakness board hitters form holds up in the Belmont Stakes, and go a little bit into some patterns that's going to help to win the Belmont Stakes and figure out the winners. But before I begin, I want to thank everyone that subscribed so far. It means a lot to me. There's going to be a lot of big things coming up for the channel. I'm working on trying to launch a website that will focus on building a community where people from all over the world can talk to each other, and working on getting stuff for doing a weekly live stream, figuring out how to get that set up and actually look really good and not have a cheesy look to it. But anyways, thanks guys, and I'll get right on into it. And we'll start with the 2013 Belmont, and the reason I start there is because that was the year that they went to the point system for the Kentucky Derby, so I think that changed how trainers and owners and everybody approached the Triple Crown races. So I think that's just a good starting point. And we'll go into 2013, and that's the year that Palace Malice won with Mike Smith. Oxbow got second with Gary Stevens. Orb got third, and Incognito got fourth. And you'll see that we'll go to Palace Malice, and Pletcher is really good with this angle. He'll go to the Kentucky Derby, he'll take off for the Preakness, come back and have his horses ready to fire really good in the Belmont Stakes. I don't like the one where he goes to the Peter Pan so much, but you'll see that some of these Preakness board hitters don't really do too good in the Belmont. Oxbow got first in the Preakness, came back, got second in the Belmont. See, Orb got fourth in the Preakness, ran third in the Belmont. See, Overanalyze. He was another one of those Pletcher horses, Kentucky Derby to Belmont Ingles, but that one didn't win. Palace Malice won. Freedom Child won the Peter Pan by 13 1/4 lengths, and he didn't fire in the Belmont. There's only one horse that's won that, and I'll get into him in a minute from that angle. But as you can see, a lot of the horses that hit in the Preakness generally don't do too good in the Belmont, especially second, third, and fourth. Golden Soul got second in the Kentucky Derby, didn't fire in the Belmont. And we'll get on into 2014. And that's the year California Chrome had the Triple Crown on the line, and he didn't get it. Tonalist won that, and he came from the Peter Pan. It's been the only horse since 2013 to come from the Peter Pan. Commissioner got second. He came out of that same race. Medal Count got third for Robbie Alvarado. Of course, California Chrome got fourth. And you'll see California Chrome won the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, of course. Commanding Curve got second in the Kentucky Derby. It's one of those big long shot bummers like I talked about when I done my Country House long shot video. Here's Commissioner, second in the Peter Pan, second in the Belmont. He's probably been the best horse Pletcher has done from that Peter Pan angle. See General A-Rod fourth in the Preakness, didn't do anything in the Belmont. See what else we can find. Medal Count came from the Kentucky Derby. Of course, didn't win. Right on Curling got second in the Preakness and didn't do anything in the Belmont. Samrat came from Kentucky Derby to Belmont. Social Inclusion got third in the Preakness. Didn't do anything in the Belmont. So you see, like a lot of the second, third, and fourth place board hitters in the Preakness are not too good at bets in the Belmont. It'll usually change up who gets first and second. Here's Tonalist, ran a really good Peter Pan race. Wicked Strong, Kentucky Derby, Belmont Angle. And we'll move on to 15, and of course that's the year that American Pharoah won the Triple Crown. Frosted got second, trained by Karen McLaughlin. Keen Ice got third. Move Tahij got fourth. And we'll get on into that. And of course there's Keen Ice Romans does decent about getting some board hitters with the Kentucky Derby to Belmont angle. Here's Frosted, of course. The Kentucky Derby skips to Preakness, goes to the Belmont. But he had a little bit of tactical speed to help him out in the Belmont. Here's American Pharoah, and of course, I think after he won the Preakness, almost everybody just about guaranteed he was going to be the Triple Crown winner. It was tough to envision another horse coming up and beating him. Let's see, here's Made from Lucky, first in the Peter Pan for Pletcher, didn't do good in the Belmont. Televerb got second in the Preakness, didn't fire in the Belmont. And Mubtahij finished 8th in a Derby, but he won the UAE Derby. He wasn't a bad horse. He came up and hit the board, but you don't see too many of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place Preakness hitters and are trying to hit the board. And we'll move on to 2016. And this was a year that I picked Destin to win the Belmont, and I really thought he was going to win Turning for Home, and got gunned down at the wire and costing me a lot of money, but that happens. It's horse racing. But Creator won, and Destin had the other Pletcher Kentucky Derby to Belmont angle. Governor Malibu raced over at Laurel Park. Stradivari had one of the rare Pletcher Preakness to Belmont angles, and I don't like that angle for Pletcher. Brody's Cause got 6th for Del Romans, but you'll see Cherry Wine got 2nd in the Preakness, didn't translate to Belmont success. Here's Creator, the classic Kentucky Derby, skipped the Preakness, come to the Belmont, and that was the year that Windstar Farm or Asmussen got Gettysburg like just a few days before the Belmont, and if you looked, it was definitely worth the play on Creator at 20 to 1, especially going back in time. I kind of ignored it. One of my friends didn't and made like $6,000 on that race, and he called it all along. But of course I had Destin and classic Kentucky Derby to Belmont angle. Exaggerator 2nd in the Derby, 1st in the Preakness, didn't fire in the Belmont. Governor Malibu was racing at Laurel, ran in the Peter Pan, got 2nd to Unified, who was a decent horse for Chad Brown, but he didn't fire in the Belmont, got 4th, which wasn't bad. He also kind of got steadied up at the top of the stretch. Here's Laney. Anybody who was following that horse that year, that horse didn't have a lot of tactical speed, but could just run all day. And I thought a show bet on Laney, which I had as a backup, thank God, was just about the surest bet of the day. Everybody knew a 1.5 miles was going to be right up that horse's alley. Here's Stradivari, the rare Preakness to Belmont angle, didn't work. Sudden Breaking News, 2nd in the Arkansas Derby, 5th in the Kentucky Derby. Of course, didn't fire in the Belmont. I'll go to 2017, and this is the year that Tappert and Irish War Cry won, and then Patch and Gormley got 3rd and 4th, and Tappert and Patch had the Pletcher angle from Kentucky Derby to Belmont. Same with Irish War Cry. Gormley, actually all the top 4 finishers had that same angle going for them, and you'll see a lot of the Preakness winners that year didn't really do anything, and some of the new shooters coming in from these smaller races, like here's Twisted Tom from Laurel, didn't do anything. Of course, Tappert was the winner. Gormley ran a pretty solid race to get 3rd. It looked like maybe he didn't want to go 1.5 miles, but I don't know, because some of the past Malibu Moonsires have hit the board in the Belmont, so I don't know. But here's Del Romans with J-Boy's Echo, didn't win. Of course, Hollywood Handsome with Dower Stewart didn't hit. Looking at Lee, 2nd to Derby, 4th in the Preakness, didn't do anything in the Belmont. H. Grand Motion. That year they actually had this horse pointed. I don't think they wanted to run him until the Haskell or maybe one of the prep races right before the Haskell, but he was training so good they moved him up to the Belmont. So that was a positive, especially for H-gram motion that year. Then senior investment, third in the Preakness, of course, didn't fire in the Belmont. Meantime, another Peter Pan runner didn't do anything in the Belmont. Multiplier didn't. He got first in the Illinois Derby, sixth in the Preakness, didn't fire in the Belmont. Patch, Kentucky Derby to Belmont Angle. And then we'll get into 2018, of course, and that's the year Justify won the Triple Crown. And of course, Justify ran in all three races that year. Bravazzo, sixth in the Derby, second in the Preakness. Didn't do anything in the Belmont. Hochberg had the Kentucky Derby, Belmont Angle. Restoring Hope. I kind of question why he was entered in there. But anyways, he had a rare Pat Day mile at the Belmont. Gronkowski, trained by Chad Brown, he actually got second in that race, but I think that was more of Veneroso, and especially Veneroso, and a little bit of Hopper kind of doing the dirty work, and Gronkowski managed to get a dream trip and slide up there for second. Here's Asmussen, fifth in the Derby, third in the Preakness. See, a board hitter didn't really translate to Belmont success. Veneroso finished. I thought he was the best candidate to get second. To me, he ran the second best race, and I think he got fourth. But he had the classic Kentucky Derby, Belmont Pletcher Angle. Same with Noble Indy, but he didn't do anything. Blended Citizen, another Peter Pan to Belmont that didn't do much. But as you can kind of see from what I'm gathering here, you want to try to go with a Kentucky Derby to Belmont Angle, especially if the horses have shown some real ability before, so usually fire in the Belmont. You want to stay away from horses that are coming from some of these smaller tracks or like smaller races, like maybe the Peter Pan, even though it did have that one winner. But you generally, if you like the horse, I would say going into the Kentucky Derby, then you should like them going to the Belmont, especially well rested, because the ones in the Preakness should be a little bit weakened from having ran. And if they did win the Preakness and are going to the Belmont, then they're probably Triple Crown winners. But you see, unless they win the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, you just don't see them win the Preakness and then win the Belmont too often. So keep that in mind. And some early candidates that I think could potentially win based on some of the stuff that I showed y'all would be Tacitus, of course, trained by Bill Mott. Spinoff, trained by Todd Pletcher. And of course, you can't count out World Will, because I think the rest of the field that's going to enter is going to be real weak. But I think World will have his hands full with those two new challengers. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll have more videos soon.